Hi, welcome back to another episode of my channel. Today I'm finally putting my face to all those videos that I've been making. A lot of people have been asking me what got me into curries and why am I so enthusiastic about it. So yeah, this could be the start of a number of videos that I'm going to make where I like to talk about curry. I've got a few ideas for a few up and coming videos that I'd like to make to address one or two things I feel passionately about and strongly about. But in this video I'd really just like to describe briefly why I'm so fascinated in Indian food. So let's start at the beginning. Um, my granddad spent a lot of time in India in World War II in various locations. I grew up listening to his stories, but one of the legacies from his time in India, 1944, 1945, is that he was based with a lot of troops from other parts of the world, you know, Punjabis, Indians, Sikhs, you name it. So what he did at the end of the war, he came back and he had a lot of recipes from these fellow soldiers. He was actually in the RAF, but so my earliest memories of curries are of my granddad in the kitchen cooking curries, and yeah, it was pretty exotic, you know, back in the late 70s. You know, those smells, the flavours, and at least once a week he'd cook a curry. And it always used to be quite interesting looking back on it. He'd add flour to the sauce to thicken it up, and he'd add raisins, and yeah, so pretty authentic cooking. Um, so I grew up with that and obviously tasted curry at an early age, and I think there's been quite a fascination of India and Indian food in my family as well. So that's something I've grown up with. When I was about 14, 13, 14, 15, you know, mid early teens, I got a job in an Indian restaurant, working in the kitchen, doing all the donkey work really. So I had some exposure to Indian restaurants and some of the tips and techniques, and you know, pretty familiarised myself and watched all the cooks. There was about 6 or 7 cooks at that time, and all seeing them, you know, after the night in the restaurant, all eating their staff curry with their fingers, and that was an interesting experience. So, you know, I had a pretty good all-round, what do you call it, all-round familiarity with curries. You know, it wasn't until I was about 20 and I lived on my own and started really cooking for myself that I thought, let's cook a curry. You know, I've seen these guys doing it in the restaurant. I grew up with my granddad cooking authentic Indian food, so let's have a go myself. And you know, after some time, you never really get that flavour, you never really get that taste that you used to. So it's been a quest really. How, you know, you've got all the ingredients at home, you've got access to all those spices, and but it just never really comes out right. So the research and things like that I've done has been pretty incredible, almost fanatical really. So I think the breakthrough was when I lived in certain places with a large Indian community, where I'd get invited to homes and things like that, and I'd always be interested in what they were cooking, and I'd ask a lot of questions, and slowly and surely I became pretty proficient at Indian cookery. I wanted to go to India always. I went in 2006 to begin with. At Indian food, 3 meals a day, you know, asked a lot of questions, did a little bit of filming in the kitchens, and I haven't got any of those videos. But yeah, that was a major breakthrough as well. The freshness, the combinations, the different ingredients, and you know, you've got some type of comparison then to British Indian restaurants and then really authentic restaurants in India. And yeah, the story continued. Carry on researching, trial and error, you know, visiting countless restaurants up and down the country. Always in search of a great curry, going to restaurants for inspiration. I think the next major breakthrough was living in Malaysia for 5 years. It has a very large Tamil community, so a lot of South Indian authentic food all over the place. And the difference between a lot of British Indian restaurants and South Indians cooking in Malaysia is that they cook a lot of the food on the street. So it's not a secret over there, they're Indian people cooking food for Indian people, and you can get familiar with a lot of their techniques because they're cooking live, in the open air on fires. You can pick up a lot of tips, and obviously 5 years of constantly eating out, it's really cheap to do that, and countless restaurants again, and getting friendly with people, and having as an English teacher here and there in Malaysia, you get the opportunity sometimes to teach students that are chefs, which is great. So as soon as somebody mentions, "Oh, I'm a chef," it's like, wow, okay, come and demonstrate some of your food and I'll give you a free lesson, and I don't want your money anymore. And you learn as much as you can, and you go to people's houses, you get friendly with people, and it revolutionised the way I cook. So and then coming back to England after 5 years of eating authentic Indian food, coming back to England and always defending British Indian restaurant style in Malaysia, saying, oh, the Indian food in Britain is superior to the most part, and that's my memory of it. But actually, I must say, it's totally different. It's not comparative with authentic cooking. And I'm sorry to have over-justified that to some of my Asian friends in Asia. I was quite disappointed with the majority of restaurants coming back to Britain after defending that style of cooking for so long. So now I really like a little bit of both. I like authentic, I like BIR. Let's just have a look. Yeah, so a lot of restaurants, just money down the drain as far as I'm concerned, in Britain. Some of them are excellent. I'm not going to name any, but some of them are excellent, and I'm continuing to visit restaurants up and down the country. I'm now an area representative, so I get the chance to travel, and I always combine visiting famous and highly recommended restaurants up and down the country. That's what made me want to write the book British Indian Restaurant Food at Home, available on Amazon, because I wanted to sort of combine some of the BIR style with a touch of authenticity. So it's I wouldn't call it a fusion book, but I thought let's heighten the genre a little bit. There's a notion that all BIR is the same all over the place, and these are the rules, and it's not true at all. There's so many different restaurants, so many restaurateurs are from different regions. Obviously they know how to cook for the British palate, and they've adapted recipes with a fusion of BIR and what they're familiar with. So every restaurant's different. Yeah. That's something I really want to get across, because some people are very adamant about the very small-minded way of a lot of BIR and how it should be done, and that's not BIR, and this is, what does BIR mean? British Indian Restaurant. It has a style mainly influenced by Bengalis from Sylhet, who were very famous chefs that cooked for the British Raj, and that legacy continued, and the majority of Indian restaurants in the UK are of Bengali origin, and it's not really a wonder why they're going downhill. The secret's out, if you can call it a secret. Everybody's cooking really decent food at home now, Indian food at home, which is really great. So I wrote another book as well, authentic South Indian cuisine. I had to do that really, because that's what I was eating for 5 years. The dosas, the varaval, you name it. The chettinad food. It was all highly popular in Malaysia, and I've got a lot of experience in that food as well. So that urged me to write my second book. So in all, 20 years plus now of being fascinated with Indian food, trying new recipes, trying new techniques, you know, infusing different recipes and techniques and coming up with hybrids, you know, taste sensations, and really doing it my own way. You know, after so much experience and exposure, you start to become an instinctive cook, if you like, and you can just make recipes up as you feel fit. Just like a lot of the restaurants are doing, you could just make up a name, couldn't you? You know, prawn, dansak, boona, whatever you want to call it. So, you know, the combinations are unlimited. I started the video channel about 9 months ago. Thank you very much for everybody who subscribed, and it's slowly increasing in popularity. I know my videos are really rustic and they're pretty unrehearsed, but you know, I just got to get it out. If I had to make a professional video and I had to really plan everything, there'd be a lot less videos, and the main concern that I have is the flavour and the output of the videos, the actual dishes, rather than the presentation. So I do apologise for the and ahhing and the hectic nature of some of my videos, but that's just the way it's going to continue. I'm constantly looking to upgrade my skills, techniques and recipes. It's a never-ending journey, which I'm passionate about and I enjoy. You know, even the shopping, I love shopping for spices. I have a very well equipped kitchen. Anybody would think I was running a restaurant here. So my next video I might make one just about BIR restaurants and what I feel about them. I always feel that you never really know something until you leave it for some time and go back. Obviously I've had a lot of travels, and I've been out of the country for 5 or 6 years in Asia. So it was really interesting to revisit the British Indian restaurant, and you know, I have enough experience to be able to compare that to authentic restaurants, whether it be in India, Malaysia, Singapore, for example. So that's a bit enough from me. Thanks for watching. Thank you very much to everybody that's subscribed to my channel so far. Thanks for everybody that's going to subscribe. It's nice to have a curry chat sometimes, and thank you very much for your support, for those who have supported me in the past and the people that will go on to support me into the future, and that's increasing steadily and I appreciate it. Okay, that's enough from me. Let's get that comment box below nice and full, and if anybody wants to talk curry, I'm all ears. Okay, thank you very much.